Okay, I think it's working. I guess we'll find out. Sorry? Yep. Wow. Okay, great. I can hear you. Yep, but you're a little bit choppy. Oh, let me get this started. How do I start an event on here? There was a way to do it. Give me a second. Okay, start it. Okay, it's started. We'll give it a few minutes for everyone to join, I think, and then we can get going. Ooh. You there, Maya?
Hear you, but you hear me?
I can kind of hear you, but it's a little bit choppy, the sound, but maybe that's just on my end. Okay, I think you're back now.
Is it a bit better?
That's much better, yeah.
Oh, okay, fantastic. I lowered my FPS, so
Okay.
doesn't matter for presentation. So
Too high quality.
it used to be 30 and now it's 15. So that is not great,
Yeah,
but it is how it is with Australian Wi-Fi. So
yeah,
we have to cope somehow.
yeah. Well, I don't think we need that many FPS for slides, unless you're going to be like da 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 da
Yeah,
da.
yeah, first slide. No, that will stop me. So it's actually good because I I will have a technical limit to. I mean, I think I'm speaking really slowly today, maybe because I slept for very long. Um, so that's good. I think I have unlearned to rap for presentations. Hopefully,
Yeah,
it's hard to judge oneself, but
nice. Well, I'm sure you'll be great.
so should we wait a few more minutes,
Yeah, let's wait another couple
or
of
or should we?
minutes, and then we'll
Yeah, yeah,
get
absolutely, no
started.
worries.
Da, da, da. And Pranav can hear us, so that's great. Can hear all the. He's over on YouTube,
Okay,
making sure
fantastic.
this is working.
Oh, fantastic, fantastic. Yeah, you always need another person to verify because I once have streamed on YouTube and I wanted to check if everything is working and created this horrible
Yeah.
feedback loop. So yeah, never doing that again.
Um, okay. We can get started, I guess. So I,
Okay, fantastic.
yeah. So this is Maya. She's a PhD researcher at the ANU, and today she's going to be talking all about UniverseTBD. And hopefully, this is also going out on YouTube, not just on the Discord, but we'll see how we go. It seems like it's working, and take it away, Maya.
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you so much. So the goal of today's talk is to showcase who we are, to kickstart the series of talks on YouTube. We thought that it makes sense to introduce ourselves a bit, and maybe some of you will want to join us as well, if you feel like our interests are aligned. So I will just be talking about what our deal is, what we are interested in, and also showcase a few projects that we've been doing. And I will just start by telling our team, and which is it is. Oh, I'm so sorry, my headphones just. Could you just let me know if you hear me well? Because I have received a notification about my headphones changing, but I'm assuming that it should still be fine because I have a green border. So I will. Okay, thank you so much, Mike. All right, so sorry for that. Moving on. Our team is dispersed around quite a few countries and quite a few institutes and a lot of time zones as well, which is why we have the general meetings, because it's just impossible otherwise. So I am based in Australia, but we have members in Europe and the US as well. Yeah, and we are expanding if anyone is interested, of course. And our mission is to produce some research that will matter, but also create an environment that is good for young researchers to follow their heart. It might sound corny, but essentially that's what it is. So we value openness, both in terms of open source, as well as in terms of open communication. So we do believe that open source science is essentially the most productive science for humanity. Next, we wish to aim for excellence with purpose. We wish to aim for projects that we deem fun and we'll learn from them, but also to work hard, not for the sake of it, but to accomplish something together. Fearless experimentation. So we don't want to be limited by thoughts like, oh, will it be easy to pitch this project to my supervisor? But we want to foster an environment where we can experiment together on crazy ideas. If we have the skills and the means, then we can just go for it together. And junior leadership, which explains why me, a second-year PhD student, is giving this talk. And transparency and integrity, mostly in terms of our internal communication and various aspects like that, but also to follow these few, well, not exactly rules, but these few ideas that we try to keep at our core. And now I would like to move a little bit into the scientific regime and paint a picture that we think is happening around us, we think will happen, and how can we leverage the opportunities but also overcome some challenges, hopefully. So there are a few challenges that scientists are dealing with nowadays, and that will definitely continue to be a challenge. One is growing literature. So the amount of papers that gets published can be a bit overwhelming. It's not that bad for astronomy, but for machine learning, for example. But even for astronomy, it's really, really hard to have a clear overview of the whole field, for example, for a junior researcher. And with this kind of huge volume of papers comes a huge volume of data. In many fields, astronomy included, and I do keep referring to astronomy because I am an astronomer, but this is not astronomy specific. We do have huge data because we have amazing technical capabilities. For example, we can observe a lot of sky, but we can also simulate a lot. And it's really hard to distill knowledge from that. And another thing is that we can read through papers, have a lot of ideas, but experiments and validating these ideas that has a cost, whether that is time, but usually it's also money. It's just impossible to really test everything. So it would be great to have a very smart advisor that could maybe point us in one direction or identify some gaps and try to, or maybe stop us from reinventing the wheel because we haven't reached a paper because there are so many papers. So these are all things where machine learning can be easily helpful because computers don't struggle with huge data, for example. Humans do. And we can most certainly work in symbiosis here. Another big goal that we have on top of tackling some specific challenges is that we would like to contribute to democratizing science. And we can leverage the internet for that. So we are happy to live in a world where we can really share information and communicate with people all around the globe. But scientists do still encounter some barriers. So that can, of course, be money, but money is a huge problem. So not everyone has the same resources, but also not everyone has the same access to communicating with other researchers. And for example, being in a very small institute and having contact with a big group of researchers only, let's say once a year on a big conference, that can be tremendously limiting. And it could be great to have an assistant that could maybe point us to some interesting papers and help us navigate this landscape. So resources and connecting between people, but also another mode in which we would like to work is to just foster this environment where people can express their ideas and can follow ideas they have, even if they are a bit crazy, because it's not a bad thing in science to go bold. This is how innovation is born. And now I would like to circle back a little bit, and I do keep referring some problems in the context of astronomy. I do keep to repeat that. This is because I am an astronomer, but it's not only me. We do have quite a few astronomers. And this field, it's not only astronomy, but it's a nice example of a field where we have very big opportunities to experiment with machine learning in very bold applications. First of all, astronomy is very open source. So there's no big industry involved here, which is sometimes a problem, but in this case, it's a huge opportunity, simply because it doesn't really make any sense to guard the data very much. So a lot of data is public, and this extends to papers. So most astronomers do publish their papers on archive, and therefore it's very easy to have access to a huge corpus of very high quality literature because these are peer-reviewed papers. We have NASA ADS, which makes it very easy to access almost all astronomical literature. And we have a lot of observations that are also sometimes not that easily accessible in terms of technical challenges, but accessible in a legal open source way. And we do know that open source is great. We do see DeepSeek's success, and we would like to continue doing things the open source way. And astronomy does provide the landscape for that. Another thing is we can experiment with interesting capabilities of machine learning here, especially in the context of multimodal model, because we would expect some selected observations across different wavelengths, for example, to be caused possibly by the same physical phenomenon. And to train a model that could connect these dots across different modalities of observations, or maybe see some pattern in various publications across the years, studying different cosmic phenomena. That would be extremely interesting. And generally dealing with physics and machine learning and differentiable physics, computational physics, that is interesting on its own, because physics is something that does provide sometimes some ground truth, with both simulations and observations. It's all very interesting. But we do expect some kind of ground truth to be there, and that's the exciting part. That's the good quality of astronomy for machine learning. But of course, a lot of things will extend to other subfields as what happens that we have a lot of astronomers on our team, and we do like astronomy. And AI potential for science in general is tremendous these days. We do see a huge interest in large language models, and for a good reason, because they're doing fantastic stuff. One interesting feature, one of, is multimodality. We would expect some physical phenomena to be expressed in different modalities of observation. So that could be imaging or spectroscopy or time series or just different wavelengths of observation. So multimodal models could perform extremely well in the context of finding some new physics in different observations, for example. That is possibly a very powerful thing. Another thing is reasoning. So new state-of-the-art models seem to reason well. And astronomy is a great test for that, because we can try to, again, link different observations or analyze papers in a very comprehensive way. So science is a great playground for reasoning models. And also retrieval augmented generation, which is kind of even a routine thing to do nowadays. But we just have a lot of very high quality publications and data that we can ground our predictions on. So that is, of course, again, a technique we want to leverage and squeeze out most we can. Now I would like to move to the second part of my talk and showcase a few of our projects to showcase the examples of work we do. So one project is Pathfinder. This was led by Kartik Iyer and a huge team, and it is a pipeline to navigate across astronomical papers, and it is an augmented version of retrieval augmented generation. You can access the app here, and it is meant to provide papers that will answer some questions, and furthermore, we can go and find links between papers and of the interesting experiments and things as well. And a nice side effect is that we can create a land of astronomy papers. So you can create a map like that. And this might seem trivial, but it is actually impossible for a single person to read through a corpus of huge papers and have a very clear overview of what is very actively studied. Usually you will kind of focus on your own subfield and have some more anecdotal even knowledge of, yeah, this receives a lot of attention nowadays, but it's just too much to have it all in mind like that. So it is a very nice side effect, because this way we can identify gaps in research nowadays, and take a look at what receives a lot of attention and what. So another example of project is AstroTalks, and this is a project led by David Hendricks that is meant to simplify access to astronomical talks. Again, here there's a very cool side effect in the form of a great data set, because we have astronomical recordings, and I am speaking about a few thousand here. So it is almost handpicked. So it is very good quality and can be interesting for various other applications as well. But the goal of this project for now is to create a summary of this. No, not one summary, but create singular summaries for all of these talks that can be then used to have a explorer for talks and find some links between talks, or even just a recommendation tool, because that could be very useful. Some talks are very high quality and are hidden across university YouTube pages that don't receive a lot of views. So it can be just very useful for scientists to have a more organized way to access this kind of knowledge. And in the future, we can do much more with this data set, as well as create summaries that link up transcription fragments to the slides that could be extracted from the recording. So there is a lot of information, and again, it is multimodal. So another challenges can await. And speaking of multimodality, another project is AstroLLaVa. This effort is led by Mike and Shara. And this is lava fine-tuned to understand astronomy. So again, a great side effect will be that we are going to have a very high quality data set of astronomical pictures and generated question and answer tests, as well as some descriptions of the pictures. But an interesting and exciting prospect is that we can have a model that will just understand astronomical pictures and answer questions about physics of these objects, for example. And that would include two modalities, but I did mention a few times already that we deal with a lot of modalities in astronomy, and in principle, all of them could be included. So that is very exciting. And lastly, we also have AstroCoder, which again is an exploratory tool to simplify astronomical software installation and discovery. Astronomical software, in my opinion, it suffers from the same problem as astronomical talks. So there is a lot of science put there, a lot of effort, but sometimes it's not very well advertised, for example. Astronomy is also not a huge field. And we want to produce a tool that will help people find packages, for example, not to reinvent the wheel, or maybe to collaborate and help install them with some installation summaries, as well as examples of usage. And that can be extended into agents that actually code with these packages in the future. And you can access the demo on Nolan's website. Nolan is leading this effort. And this was a very fun project. It started on a hackathon. So it's great to see full ideas just get forged into a result. And this is exactly what we want to foster. Lastly, I would like to talk a bit about the future. So we all have these projects. We also all have PhDs or cool jobs. So this all goes hand in hand. But we also have a lot of ideas. And one interesting thing to focus on is hypothesis generation. Of course, this involves reasoning, generative abilities. So this is something we're very interested and excited about. But a more crystallized idea is telescope, which is essentially an idea where we would let a machine learning model control a telescope. And we hope that that would include so many exciting things, because that is a playground for reinforcement learning, for hypothesis generation, but also think if the model can understand the technical constraints that we have nowadays, analyzing the results, and it's really pushing the limits of how far can we go with human or no human in the loop. So this is our big idea for the future. I would also like to thank you for institutions that have supported us in the past. So Microsoft and OpenAI were very generous with some computational credits and grants. We have received technical support from Hugging Face as well. And huge thanks to European Space Agency for co-hosting a workshop last fall, for example, where AstroCoder was born. And the important thing is that we stay in touch. So if you are interested in what we do, follow us on social media or reach out as well. And we do have a Discord where we can talk more freely and actually engage in some projects and swap ideas. So don't be a stranger and join our social. And thank you very much for your attention. Thank you so much. I will leave the Discord
Thanks.
on for a few minutes.
Thanks, Maya. Great talk. Yeah, I think it went well. Let's leave it there. Thank you for your talk, though, and then yeah, I'll see you in a bit. Right, bye.
Thank you so much. Thank you.